We're taking you to Takayama, one of the most beautiful and well-preserved historic cities of Japan. It's most famous for the old town with narrow streets lined by beautifully preserved wooden merchant houses built hundreds of years ago but still standing in excellent condition. Charming from the outside, and many of these buildings are open and welcome the public inside to their stores, cafes, restaurants, and historic sites. Shoppers will discover a treasure of local arts, crafts, and clothing. There's also a thriving new town and a historic folk village that we'll be exploring, but the main attraction is the old town. This quaint charm with so much to see has made Takayama an important visitor destination, but it does not get overcrowded like more famous cities in Japan, such as Kyoto. Many of the people you see walking on the streets are local residents, and it seems most visitors are coming from Japan. This all adds up to an authentic experience for that adventurous visitor who finds their way to Takayama. This remarkable preservation is a result of many factors. Takayama was not exposed to the widespread destruction experienced by so many other Japanese cities during various wars, especially World War II. And it was shielded from rapid industrialization, which allowed the historic buildings to remain largely intact. Perhaps most importantly, its geographic isolation in the center of Japan. This helped to insulate the city from the influences of modernization. It takes 5 hours to get here from Tokyo by train, or 4 hours from Kyoto on a route that goes through the beautiful Japan Alps, one of the nicest train rides in the country, which makes the route from Kyoto to Takayama a very good way to get here. The train arrives in the heart of downtown Takayama, which is a modern city, making a practical home base for your visit. In the new town, you will find many restaurants, mostly serving varieties of local food. You'll also find lots of shops and modern streets with broad sidewalks for pedestrians, sheltered by old-fashioned arcades that keep the sun and rain off, and many hotels providing comfortable accommodations, because you'll want to spend at least one night, maybe 2 nights, enjoying the new and the old sections of beautiful Takayama. This newer side is a vibrant hub, blending contemporary life with traditional charm. We'll see more of the new town later, but now a quick look at the map for orientation. Train station on the west side, new town in the middle, old town on the east end, divided by the Miyagawa River, an area just 1 kilometer wide. The river flows gently through the city, adding to the serene ambiance with small bridges offering picturesque vantage points. Nakabashi is the most iconic of the several bridges across the river and leads right into the old town that we'll see more of later in the program, but first we'll have a look at some other old buildings just outside of town. Visiting the Hida Folk Village, an outdoor museum with 30 traditional old buildings. It's a few kilometers away, so it's best to take the city bus on a short ride, about 10 minutes, starting from the bus station that's right next to the train station that opened in the year 2016. So it's only 1,000 yen for the round-trip bus ticket and admission to the historical park. The bus stop is right at the front gate, easy access to the park. Hida Folk Village is an open-air museum preserving 30 traditional buildings that are up to 200 years old, mostly farmhouses. These distinctive, steeply pitched, thatched-roofed houses were relocated here from surrounding areas and faithfully reassembled. The village is set around a tranquil pond with walking paths winding through the meticulously kept grounds, including a water wheel that powered an old wood saw. Along with the historic sites, this is an outdoor nature park, offering quiet contemplation spots and panoramic views of the hillside village and surrounding forest. The pathway along the water is quite level and accessible to everyone. And then there are some small staircases and hills to walk up as you explore further into the village. You're allowed to walk into most of the houses, which function as small museums, furnished with period tools and household items that illustrate daily life of farmers and artisans and woodworkers centuries ago. You'll admire the massive timber beams that form the unique roof structures. These buildings are made entirely of natural materials that complement their surroundings. Each building, unique in its architecture, illustrating the variety of wooden construction techniques and stone flooring, while exhibiting everyday tools of the past, including sledges. Indoor fire pits remind us how homes were warmed up by burning wood. Along with fascinating buildings, the village is immersed in a natural park with little streams flowing through, creating a lovely sound. From the level pathways, you'll have some delightful views looking deep into the forest, with maps posted along the way to show where you are. At the end of the program, we'll have a bonus return visit to the folk village to see more of these lovely old buildings. As I left, a student group was arriving, but there's plenty of room inside the park for lots of people. As you noticed, it was not crowded. That same ticket is good for the return bus ride, about 10 minutes, back into Takayama, and along the way you might see snow up on the top of the Japan Alps if you are not here in the summertime. Passing the train station, from here I'm going to walk us back into the old town. It's a leisurely 15-minute walk to get over here from the station, and then you're surrounded by these old buildings. The main Old Town section is a neighborhood with 6 blocks called Sanmachi Suji, with 3 historic streets running through it. These buildings were preserved for a variety of reasons, including avoiding destruction in wars and the remote location of the city, as mentioned earlier. Another big reason is the high quality of the wood, generally cypress and cedar, carefully selected for durability and resistance to insects and rot. Cypress bark shingles form a thick, weatherproof roof that can last 40 years before needing renewal. A continuous process of restoration and reconstruction involves that meticulous replacement of deteriorated components with new materials that precisely match the original design and construction methods. Because of the high-quality, abundant wood in nearby forests, highly skilled carpenters and craftsmen have been here for many centuries, which is partly why the town was created in the first place. Takayama developed as an important administrative center, which gave the town status and resources with political leaders who wanted to maintain the town's appearance, establishing a precedent that continued into later periods. Ingrained in the culture, preservation is also nourished by continuous utilization, right up through today, where tourism has nourished the economy because of the high-quality visitors who have come all this way to enjoy the authenticity of traditional architecture and a more relaxed lifestyle and peaceful atmosphere compared to some of the major cities. Tourists are not just taking pictures, but also they are supporting shops and restaurants all along these lanes. The government realizes this historic character is a valuable economic asset, so they are doing everything possible to preserve it. Takayama is known for its local pottery styles, with ceramics available in specialized shops making distinctive souvenirs. Several of the casual cafes have preserved their historic interior design, a nice place for a short break. If you're looking for something a little bit stronger, you'll find one of the most popular kinds of shops here sells sake, usually including a tasting bar where you can sample a wide variety. This shop has an old courtyard in the back open to the public. Several sake breweries, some with centuries of history, line the streets. The sake here is notable for its dry taste, influenced by the cold local climate and Hida homare rice, which is cultivated in the region. It's a perfect setting to enjoy that popular local beverage. This very large art shop sells a big variety of prints and paintings, books, postcards, and various souvenirs, with colorful displays right up to the ceiling. These prints and posters are affordable and easy to pack. As long as you avoid the peak summer season, these lanes are not crowded, generally quiet in the morning and late afternoon, but sometimes they do get pretty busy. Perhaps you'll run into a big family having lots of fun making a silly group video to send up on social media. But if you keep walking a few blocks further north along those same streets, it gets a lot more quiet. If you're there in the early morning, you'll probably see the local kids pedaling on their way to school. It's less commercial and more residential. The map shows the main section we were just on and the quiet neighborhood we've entered. There are still some shops along here and a cat cafe. In the evening, you'll find some of these buildings open up as restaurants. Murahan is one of several Old Town historic buildings that's open to the public as a museum. It was the home of a wealthy merchant in the late 19th century who used it as a marketplace for silk production that helped transform the local economy in the late 19th century. Walking through the courtyards and various rooms is free and fascinating, and yet on this day I was the only person there. Kind of nice to have a museum all to yourself. Parts of the building serve as a youth activities office, a hub for community engagement, connecting young people together. A model and map on the floor help you get around. The reception area for entertaining important guests has 15 tatami mats. The neighborhood is kept very clean, with everybody pitching in to do their part. However, they do not have any trash cans on the street. You're expected to hang on to your trash, and if it was food wrappings, bring it back to where you bought it, or keep it with you till you get back to your hotel. Newspaper delivery is handled here by a local lady who makes the rounds while getting some exercise. At the north end of the old town, you'll come upon the small Enako River, flowing through a residential area with some historical sections, and a small shrine where some locals stop to pay their respects with a short prayer. There are several small pedestrian bridges crossing the river, offering unique vantage points. The sound of its babbling water and tree-lined narrow banks exude a calm and peaceful atmosphere. Household gardens are quite small, but residents take good care of them, making the most of the space. From the shallow, narrow Enako River, we're walking a few blocks over to have another look at the Miyagawa River and take a walk through its open-air market, selling food, handmade crafts sold by the vendors that created them, and authentic made-in-Japan souvenirs. On a beautiful riverfront location lined with a long row of storefronts selling a variety of goods, some of them in grand old buildings with traditional architecture that complement the sidewalk kiosks. In this casual setting, you'll have a chance to see the craftspeople at work while making the merchandise that they are selling. It's a place for friendly conversation where you can chat up the vendors and learn something about the market. It helps to get here early by 8 a.m. before the crowds show up, so they have time to talk and explain what they've got.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wow. What's the name of the market?
Miyagawa Morning Market. Miyagawa Morning Market. Yes.
Okay. So what are you making?
Inside octopus.
Uh-huh. Nice.
Savory.
Savory, wow. Takoyaki is one of the most popular street foods in Japan. Grilled in a wheat flour batter. Then eat it while sitting on a bench by the river. It's called Miyagawa Market because that's the name of the river, which runs through the middle of the city. There are several other places to eat in the kiosks and in the shop fronts along the river, with more benches to sit down on. While those outdoor kiosks at the morning market are going to catch your attention, be sure to have a look inside the stores as well, some of which have wonderful displays of local products. Takayama is especially famous for its lacquerware in the Hida Shunkei style, characterized by a clear yellow lacquer that enhances the natural grain of the wood, in a process involving 20 meticulous steps and collaboration between skilled woodworkers and lacquer painters. The vendors are quite friendly and happy to see you, even if you're just taking pictures and don't buy anything. They are used to the endless flow of tourists and welcome you into their shops. Stretching along the riverbank, creating a linear plaza of activity, the market represents one of Japan's most enduring traditions, having operated for over a century in its current location. And while there still are some vendors selling food for local people, it's primarily become a market for the tourists. By 8:30 in the morning, it starts to fill up with visitors. If you want to avoid the crowds, it's best to get here by about 7:30 or 8 in the morning, or even at 7 o'clock when it opens, closing about noon or 0 p.m. in Japanese notation. Then you can get out of here and leave it to the tourists taking their group photos and move along to the other market across the river at the south end of town. It's about 600 meters away, so you can easily walk there without much effort. You'll see this is a much smaller market with a totally different atmosphere, mostly for locals selling root crops, chili peppers, and some hand-processed food items, and some appealing food items for visitors.
Morning market.
Morning market. Every day? Every day.
Every day.
And what do you have here? What is this?
Sesame. Takayama sesame.
Sesame.
Sesame, miso.
And miso. Did you make this?
All I made.
You make it all. Wow. Having breakfast, huh? It's pleasant to observe the daily routines of residents and see how tradition continues in these small, meaningful ways. One of the most important historical sites is next to the market, the Takayama Jinya, an ancient government house that once controlled the entire Hida region, now a historic museum. Not yet open during my morning market visit, but here's some photos from their website to give you an idea of the interior. There were once more than 60 similar buildings in Japan from the Edo period, but this is the only one left. It's across the street from Nakabashi Bridge, that famous red bridge we saw earlier, with a nice view of the Miyagawa River. Next to the bridge we have Nakabashi Park, a little oasis offering a tranquil setting to pause and enjoy the surroundings. Have a seat on a bench and relax. Not designed for active recreation, but to provide a pleasant environment to soak up the city's beauty. This resting area on the south side of the river next to the Red Bridge is quite close to the main parts of downtown, the newer section of the city, that we'll take a closer look at right now. While most visitors make a beeline for the preserved streets of the Old Town, the city's newer district offers its own compelling reasons to linger. This new section has a compact scale with most destinations reachable within a comfortable walk, so you do not need to use public transport or taxis to get around. But you could rent a bicycle. Supermarkets like Family Store make it easy to grab essentials or sample local snacks. The area provides practical shopping opportunities for both locals and visitors who need everyday items or contemporary goods rather than souvenirs or traditional crafts. A popular item for visitors is sake, that Japanese rice wine, a traditional beverage and popular modern drink, which you can sample at some breweries like this offering self-service machines, where you make a selection and the system deducts automatically from your prepaid card, offering a nice chance to sample different varieties. While the new town has mostly modern buildings, there are some historic sites, ranging from small shrines to major temples, easily reached from the main streets. Downtown, you'll also find the oldest temple in the region, Hida Kokubunji with a history of over 1,250 years. The three-story pagoda was rebuilt in 1821 after a fire. Regular services and meditation sessions are held, and you can reserve a private talk with a monk, learning about Buddhism and discussing your own concerns. Reservations are available by email. Open shopfronts offer a colorful glimpse into contemporary Japanese packaged foods, inviting you to come on in and take a closer look. We have arrived at a major crossroad of downtown where the two main streets intersect, Honmachi-dori and Kokubunji-dori. And on the corner, you're going to find the popular restaurant Kajibashi Soba, featuring the famous local Hida beef and a variety of ramen, a delicious meal at a reasonable price. But typical of popular restaurants in Japan, you might have to wait online for a little while. I got there early, about 5 o'clock, and only had to wait a few minutes and then got my seat at the counter. There is a high concentration of restaurants along these streets that cater to both locals and visitors, with family restaurants, ramen shops, and casual izakaya, along with some more expensive places. When you're alone, it's nice to sit at a counter with others and hope for quick service, which I got. A delicious roast pork ramen meal for the equivalent of about $14. Twilight is a lovely time to be out walking in a small city like Takayama. Not too crowded, but some people around, and the restaurants are open. There's also casual cafes, bakeries, and international food options. The midi has a French name, but the food is entirely Japanese, mostly ramen. Next morning, I had breakfast at my hotel's coffee shop, tasty sandwich, salad, smoothie, yogurt, and cappuccino. A very nice hotel just 1 block from the train station, then took an early walk on its quiet street. I met a very friendly local couple out for their morning walk, and they were interested to know about me and my travel plans. I go to Kanazawa today.
金沢
Kanazawa
から高山。
today,
Yeah.
今日金沢行く。
今日行く。
and then Tokyo.
東京。
そっち東京。
And that completed my visit to the historic small city of Takayama. As mentioned earlier, I'd like to share a few more scenes with you of that historic village just outside of town. So impressive, it's worth a closer look. The buildings are as much as 200 years old, representing various kinds of farmers' houses, and were relocated here from around the different parts of the Hida region. As we stroll through this living history lesson, it's a good opportunity to reflect back on the evolution of human settlement in the Takayama region, which date back to at least the Jomon period, starting from 14,000 BC, before people were even farming here. At that time, they were hunter-gatherers. Please remember, the houses we're looking at go back about 200 years, but I'm discussing now a much deeper history that led up to that eventually. The earliest farming in Japan began around 3000 BC, and the first rice farming happened about 1000 BC. But not so much in Takayama, because this was a mountainous area not very well suited for agriculture at that time. So people of this region continued to rely heavily on hunting, fishing, and gathering forest resources, and developing a distinctive mountain culture that would persist for centuries. The remote location of Takayama also meant that it remained largely isolated from the major political developments occurring in central Japan. It was during the Heian period, between the years 800 and 1200 approximately, that Takayama gained more significant settlement, especially because of its location along important mountain routes connecting the Japan Sea with the Pacific side of Japan. During the Kamakura period, about 1200 to 1300, the region came under the influence of various warrior clans who established small fortifications. During the next several centuries, it was various family dynasties that struggled for control over the area. Then with the Edo period starting from about 1600, Takayama developed into a prosperous merchant town, with the timber industry expanding and leading to the construction of the kinds of homes that we see in the folk village today, which completes our story. Now it's back on the bus ride that will bring us into town right at the train station, so we can continue our journey through Japan by train on to the next city. We frequently upload new movies, so please subscribe to our channel and click that little alarm bell so you'll be notified. And if you enjoyed the movie, how about a thumbs up? And we always welcome comments down below. Or if you have questions about the destination, make note and we'll answer them. Thanks for watching.